again for this interesting webinar to learn on the tools of Tableau. In the data-driven world today, it's not just about collecting information, it's about unlocking insights. Tableau empowers the individuals or organizations or each and everyone to transform raw data into interactive, easy to understand visuals or graphs. Whether you are a data analyst or a business leader or just someone passionate about data. So Tableau is designed to help you make faster and smarter decisions. In today's webinar, we will discuss how you can utilize the platform for all your data needs, from data cleaning and connecting to interactive charts and coding. So I am very excited to welcome you all for the interactive webinar. I am Shanti Iyer, Senior Academic Associate at Uni Athena, welcoming you to this interesting webinar. Without further delay, let's welcome our panelist, Mr. Debayan Karmopatra, working as a technology lead in data analytics with expertise in data visualization, automation, and advanced analytics. He has over 10 years of experience in data analytics, having worked with companies like Infosys, L&T, and PwC. Currently, he leads data visualization and automation efforts at Infosys using Power BI. His past work includes leading analytics teams, developing IoT dashboards for major infrastructure projects, and creating predictive maintenance model for the aviation industry. He specializes in ITL framework, data standardization, and leveraging tools like R, Python, Tableau, and Azure. It is an honor to me to extend a warm welcome, Mr. Debian. Over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Shanti. I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, you are.
So, yeah, thank you. So
before
today
we start,
yeah.
I think we have a poll. So just I would want all our attendees. We have here around 500 plus attendees from all part of the world. So I am welcoming each one of you. And I request you all to attend the poll. One poll we have in our webinar. Data has become the new fuel for business success. So you have to choose either yes or no. So we will keep the poll for a few more seconds. I can see 500 plus attendees over here. Thanking each one of you and requesting you all to stay till the end of the webinar to get most out of it. Data has become the new fuel for business success. So I want you all to poll either yes or no. I'm sure maximum of you will be polling yes, but still we will get the results in few seconds. Many of them are saying we cannot see the poll. So I am not sure how many of you are not able to see the poll. Many of you are responding done. So I'm sure maximum people are able to see the poll. Some messages are coming that we are not able to see. So we can see that 98% people out of 600 attendees here, 458 people responded for the poll. Thanks each one of you for responding the poll. And out of that 98% people are mentioning yes, the data is the fuel for the next business. I'm not sure why 2% people are still not sure whether data is going to be the next fuel for business. Anyways, thanks for all the responses. Without further delay, we are requesting our panelists to start with the sessions. We have 611 participants right now. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Shanti. So today's webinar will be mostly focused on the tool called Tableau, which is a leading BI analytics tool on the market. But our core focus will always be towards data analytics in general. Now, we will come to that, but let us go through the agenda today. So, first, there will be a generic introduction to this software, Tableau, and why that is used by data analysts. Then we will see or explore different ways of connecting our data to Tableau. Then some fundamentals on the data cleaning side and how we visualize the data. Then we will learn about creating interactive dashboards in Tableau. Dashboards, you might be knowing, if you can see the screen, it's just a collection of visualization which summarizes your data. And to take it even further, some coding and creating stories around your data. This will be all in all our agenda today. And our session will be majorly hands-on, where we will explore different ways of using Tableau. Now, there are certain Tableau products which are used in collection, but we will primarily work on Tableau desktop. We will see how it is used in different ways. There are different types of data types which we will explore. Primarily, we will stick to Excel because we feel that, all of you are very comfortable in Excel, right? So Excel will be one of the most easy to explain tool, so to speak, which will enhance your ability to visualize data even before going to Tableau. And to some extent, we will be exploring databases because databases, as you must be knowing, in any industry, if you go, they would hardly use files like Excel or CSV. They would rather use database because of the power of managing huge amounts of data. There are other data sources as well, which are very popular these days, like Google Sheet. You have OneDrive, Salesforce, and some other formats like PDF, which can also be used. So, primarily there is a step-by-step process in Tableau or in any data analytics tool. If you think in a broader perspective, you will see that when you get data for the first time, you don't get it in a very neat and clean, proper format. You always get it in some uh, ways which we call it as a raw data. So that needs cleaning and shaping, and you may have to deal with multiple data sources, not just one. So that brings in picture of joining or blending the data. Then another layer, if you have seen pivot tables in Excel, which is very popular, which is nothing but essentially data aggregation, how we summarize the data. Then there will be calculations and expressions. So the way Tableau is developed, it is a low code, no code tool where, as a developer, you don't have to worry too much about writing a code. Suppose you want to calculate something, it will be a simple one-liner English, which we will see shortly. Then there's a concept of data extracts, which is really a key selling point in Tableau. So if you connect a huge amount of data to Tableau, how can Tableau compress it into a smaller file and share the dashboard? Then there are filters because you are dealing with so much data, you obviously want to filter it. parameters and input controls. We will explore this as well. Then there will be data validation and error handling steps. We'll come across this as well. Now, visualization, which is obviously a very interesting part of analysis, there are different types of visualizations, and each type has its specific meaning. Like if I say I want to plot something, uh, let's say I have 5 years data and I want to see the sales. So for that kind of scenario, there is a type of chart that we use, not just any random chart. We will explore how and why we do that. Uh, and I guess it's almost time to move to Tableau. Let me switch directly to Tableau. This is how the Tableau's interface looks like. If can you can download Tableau as a trial version from tableau.com. If you are a student, which is a key advantage here, Tableau provides a 1 year student's license, so you can try that as well just for practice. And if you look at this interface, they are keeping it very, very minimal. You have simply, the direct thing that you need connecting with the data. So you have the connect option on the left-hand side. It's a sidebar where you have a lot of options: Excel, text file, even PDF, and even to databases if required. So let's explore this step by step. First thing that I'm going to show you is an Excel file, which is a very common data set actually. If you Google this data set, a sample superstore. So what is this data set? This is basically mm, just one moment. This is basically a transactional data from a fictional retail company who apparently has a lot of customers to whom they ship orders. So if you look at this data, let me zoom this a little bit. You will see this is actually an example of a very clean data set where you have no issue with the quality of the data. You have your unique row IDs, order IDs, then you have a date, some categorical fields, some names are there, even geographical regions are here. Then when it comes to numerical values, it has sales, quantity, discount, profit. So this is your data set, which is a very ideal case scenario. In real world, unless you have a very well maintained database, it's really difficult to keep data like this. So anyway, this is one example of data I showed you in Excel. Another example I'll show you is in the database side. So I am connected to a SQL Server database called AdventureWorks. This is again a very popular example, and you can find it on Google as well. Here you have something very similar, right? Like a retail data set only. But the difference is this is a database. So here you don't have everything in a single file. Things are a little bit distributed. Like there is address, which is a separate entity, like this. Then you have, let's say, product, which is another separate entity, like so. And you will notice that there are certain IDs connected to it. So in the world of database, basically what we do, we write a view or a join statement to bring this data into one place and make it a presentable format. But why we are doing all this is simply because if we don't set the stage, in a clean and formatted way, then going to Tableau is pointless. because Tableau is the tool for a data analyst. And a data analyst needs to spend less time on data cleaning, more time in drawing insights, bringing out of the data. So, having said that, whenever you use a database or a Excel file, it is always a best practice that you clean the data in that layer itself, either in Excel or in your database, and then come to Tableau. However, one thing must be noted that Tableau does have certain data cleaning techniques available, which allows users to clean the data to some extent. Okay, it is a good to have feature, but I would suggest not a best practice. So let's get started with one option here. I will show you. Actually, I will show you two options. First, I'll show you the database option. So remember, the database I was connected to was in Microsoft SQL Server. So if you simply click on it, it will ask for some details. Now, for me, this is a very local database which is using my Windows authentication. I will simply click sign in, and I will end up with a canvas like this, which says select database. I'll go for Adventure Works, and I see those same tables again. Now, Tableau is all about dragging and dropping. So if I want this table, I'll just simply drag it like this and click on Update Now. You will see a smart preview of your data, like so. So you only have your product details onboarded to Tableau. So if you want to draw some visualization out of it, you can do that. But remember, you are not having the rest of your data. Let's say something like product category. Now, product and product category are interlinked. So we will learn how we connect two data. Let's say I'll drag this. Moment I drag it here, there's a blue line appearing automatically. Let's release it. So what it's trying to tell us is that there is a link, but it's not defined properly. So there is something common between the two tables. Let's check that out. What we're going to do is, okay, there is an edit relationship statement over here, where basically you see the product table and the product category table. You can select a field which connects the two. So I have product ID over here. I also have product category ID over here. And in product category, I have product category ID, but I don't see product ID. So let's select product category ID. And over here, product category ID. You see, the moment I do that, that error disappears, right? So now if I look at my data, let me just make some space here. You see, what I have is product on one side and product category on the other. And here is our key column. So now, just to test, we will not visualize something immediately. We will go to sheet 1. You see, this design is very similar to Excel. Just like in Excel, we have multiple tabs. Tableau also does the same. So I'll go to sheet 1, and now things become a little interesting. So I have brought in two tables, product and product category, and Tableau clearly tells me who are the fields inside each of these tables, like this. You will notice that against every field name, there is a symbol like ABC, like a calendar or a hash, and some fields are green and some are blue. So what's happening really is that Tableau is defining your data for you, for your better clarity. Blue color indicates discrete fields. For example, color, there are some types of colors, right? So it's a discrete value. Whereas list price is a continuous number. So it's shown as green and it can be any value. And besides this, it does two things, measure names and measure value, which is nothing but a broader category. I'll come to that later, but I'll show you now how, as an analyst, you will simply start to play with your data. Because by now you have noticed a similarity. Tableau and Paintbrush of Windows is pretty much the same. There is a canvas over there, and Tableau also has a canvas over here. The only thing is we have to paint with data instead of brushes or color elements or anything like that. You will have colors though. So now let's see, speaking of color, I will simply drag color into either rows or columns. Let's go for rows. So the moment you drag and drop it in rows, what it does, it lists down the types of color which your data already has. And as you can see, it shows some values, some options. Okay, I haven't seen the data in general, but Tableau is summarizing it for me. So that is something. Now you might be interested to know that, okay, how many black, how many blue, I mean, the count in general in this data is there. So how to quickly find that out? You see, Tableau has already done half of the task for you. It has something over here. It says product count. And if you hover on it, if you can read the text, it's a generated field. It wasn't there. Tableau generated it and already captured the count, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this, and notice this is a green field, so it's a number. I'll drag it to columns, right? So the moment I do this, a visualization appears, right? And it's a very basic visual. For now, we haven't done much, but it gives you that information that you were asking, that what was the count of the colors. Now we can make this visual a lot more interesting. There are certain elements in Tableau that I will basically walk you through so that a visual needs to become presentable at the end of the day. So having said that, what you see is a default visual. Now let's start looking at some of the features in Tableau. Here at the top, you will see something called standard, and there's a drop down. If you click on it, there are four options. Now I prefer entire view. Let's see what happens. As you can see, the entire canvas is now filled by this particular visual. Also note one thing, in one sheet, you can create one visual only. You can think of it as a limitation, but it actually helps you to manage your visuals going forward. Now coming to the colors. So we do have colors in our dimension, but the entire graph is looking blue, which is obviously not interesting. So what I'm going to do right now is, first thing, I want to know the count, which is a number. Right beside here, you will see something called show mark labels. All right. So what is that? Essentially, it's a simple toggle option. If I click on it, I see the numbers. If I click on it again, the numbers disappear. As simple as that. This is a quick option, but I would recommend doing something slightly different. I will drag product into this particular option. It's called label, and simply release it. Now, the reason for doing this is because we have more options to format these numbers. If you click on label, you will see some options over here. You can change the font, maybe it's the font size, make it bold, so that you can emphasize on your data. Like this, you can do. Now, again, coming back to colors, we still don't have a good looking color. So we can take color, which was our dimension, and drag it to the color option. I know this may sound a little confusing, but this is a dimension and this box is just an option to format. So I'll just drag it, and automatically Tableau is assigning some random colors, which obviously won't make sense. So how will I fix this? I'll just simply head over to color, edit colors, and I have something like this. Okay, I mean, nothing very helpful at the moment, but you know what to do next. You can change the colors from a color palette. Color palettes are very common. You have it in Excel, in Paintbrush, everywhere. So you can go ahead and select black. Let's select blue. Let's select gray is in here, but gray is here. For null, let's assign something or the other. I'm not doing it for all, but you get the message. So you can do this customizations in a very bare minimum basic way. So this is something I just wanted to drive you into the world of Tableau as a beginner, so that you can connect with your past experiences. I'm assuming you guys have worked on Excel or at least in Paintbrush on Windows, so that it's really easy to get the flavor. So the people who built Tableau back in 2003, they also thought like this. Back in 2003, we already had Excel. Microsoft Excel was there. I'm talking about 20 years back, but Microsoft Excel was there, and so was databases. But here is something you have to understand. Excel, which is a very easy to use software, I would say, has a lot of options, still has a problem with handling huge volume of data. You cannot put in terabytes of information in Excel. Not going to happen. So that's a drawback. But you can have, a very organized set of data placed nicely, managed nicely in Excel. On the other hand, if you talk about a database, you can have a lot of data in your databases, a lot of tables, and even you can apply a security layer on top of that. All that is available, but here is the catch. You have to write SQL, which is the structured query language. And for many of us, SQL is not a very easy language. Joining tables, merging data. There's so many things. Like if I talk about pivoting data, it's very easy in Excel, but not that easy in SQL. So combining both these worlds, the creators of Tableau, they thought that at the end of the day, every analyst wants to analyze the data with minimum effort, with whatever they have at their disposal, and not getting into the mess of data cleaning, data management, and all that. Because if you see, our managers are only interested to gain insights from our data. So that's how this tool was conceptualized. uh, it's a bit of a history, might be boring, but you need to understand that when you start using a new software, that software is the result of lessons learned from some other software before it. And that's how Tableau came to being. Even if you look at other BI tools, the essence is more or less the same. Okay, so all right. Now we will take a few steps back. We'll come back to our data source panel where we created all this. So currently, if you look at the data source, we connected to a server. So our data source is a Microsoft SQL server. However, I would like to move to a different data source. I want to try something with Microsoft Excel. I already did it, but I'll show you again. There's an option called New Data Source. Click on it, and you automatically get these options. Go for Microsoft Excel. Select your Excel file. And Tableau, again, does the same thing. It simply establishes the connection. You see, it already has enlisted the same data which I had in the Excel file originally. So I have orders, people, and return. There is an option here, if you notice, it's called Data Interpreter. This one is a slightly data cleaning and to some extent data validation also, which uses a bit of an AI in the backend. It's a Tableau proprietary feature. But suppose you are using an Excel file which is not clean, then data interpreter can do it for you. Although, like I mentioned in the beginning, that it's always a best practice to clean your data in Excel itself before coming to Tableau. So here again, now I will quickly do this. I'll drag orders. Then let's say people. Here you see nothing happened on the, no errors or anything, because Tableau saw that both these tables had something called region in common, and it joined it. Let's see what happens with returns. It's trying to connect. It did with order ID. So what I have right now is orders, which is a base table connected to two separate tables. Together, this forms a single data source. Now, if I go back to sheet one, Sheet 1 still is connected to our SQL Server database. So I will create a new worksheet. You see a plus button over here. And I will go to this data set. Let me close the other one. When you don't need a data source, you can click on close to simply eliminate it. Then comes this option. Again, everything is exactly the same. You see orders table, there's people table, the blue and green pills, everything is just the same. Here, you will also notice another thing here. There are two fields called latitude and longitude. So there are certain data elements which we had. Yeah, you see country, region, city, state, province, postal code. So what Tableau understands is that these are geographical regions. So you will see a globe icon and Tableau assigns a latitude longitude to it so that it's easier to create maps. Now coming to this blank sheet again. So we have already seen how we can create a simple visualization using bar chart. Now bar chart is by default a visualization which is really easy to create. But what if you are presented with a situation where your data cannot be summarized in a bar chart? For example, your manager is asking that they want to see the trend of the sales for, let's say, past 1 or 2 years. So you know what data you already have. You do have the sales data and you know about the order dates when it was ordered. So you simply go ahead and drag, let's say, order date to columns and sales to rows. And this time, surprise, surprise, Tableau does not create a bar chart for you. It creates something else. And if you notice in the marks pane, it says automatic. It doesn't say what type of chart. It just says automatic. That is because when you give data into the canvas of Tableau, behind the scenes, Tableau triggers a SQL or a query language and also understands what type of data it is querying. And it realizes that you are trying to plot a number against a date, which can be shown in bar chart, but is better shown in a line chart. And that's why you have this. So let's do some quick cleanup. Entire view. I can see 2021, 2022. But what is a little painful is that I really don't get to understand what's happening throughout the 12 months of 21, 22, 23. I mean, were the sales actually going down or not? I want to dig deeper into our data. And that's the analyst's way of thinking. So here is how Tableau is helping me to do that. When I dragged order date in that columns, automatically it became year. But suppose I don't want year. I want in months. So I will right click on it and I will get two set of options, year, quarter, month, and again year, quarter, month. Now, why two set of options? So For any analyst, there is this uh, perception, I would say, that either my data is discrete or it is continuous. And Tableau is okay with that. Tableau is like, I will give you both the options. So if I, for a change, go to this year, which is a continuous year, let's see what happens. Nothing happens much in the visual, but this becomes green because it's continuous. Okay, so I'll change this. Now I'll make it month, but under continuous. Now things are a little interesting. What was essentially a straight upward trend or downward trend now suddenly has a lot of ups and downs and sharp edges, right? So what we understand here is that something changed between the years. So just like we do in PowerPoint, we also have a presentation mode. Let's hit it. And now you will see the month names are also appearing. So if I say March 2021, notice one thing. If I hover on it, I see the exact data that is shown. So month as well as the sales value. January has had some value. February had some declining value. Then going to March, it has a huge upshot. Likewise, all these values are visible. But obviously, the axis does not have that much space to accommodate all the month names. That's why you see something like this. So this is where, I'm trying to get into this part of formatting a visual, because unless you learn how to format a visual, it's not presentable. Let's say instead of showing just a few months, I want to show all the names of all the months. So I will simply right click, format, and I can see the dates option. So since this is taking too much space, let's go for a shorter version, maybe something even shorter. We can customize it. These things you can easily relate with Excel because formatting is also there. So what I'm going to do is m/yy, and now you have November, February, March. You still don't have the complete thing, but let's see what happens after presenting. Okay, so you have some of them, but not all of them. But essentially what you have achieved here is a bit of a continuity, which was earlier lacking. Now let me show you another beauty of Tableau, which is called the hierarchy. So you see a plus icon right over here and something like a plus icon in the axis. If I click on it, it will immediately divide my data into the next hierarchy. After year, we have quarter, then we have months. So I click again and I see months. Now, the reason it's looking all broken is because we are using the discrete value. Let's repeat the process. Let's undo. This time for green. So what happens in the continuous field section is that you don't get a breakdown. You get a continuous sort of a view like this. In fact, this will be down to the level of day, individual day. That's where you don't have any more plus icon to go through, where you can scan through the data and you will see for individual days you have a certain sales value. That's what makes Tableau interesting. You can drill to this level and examine your data. Now, I'll quickly go through a business scenario. So, for example, this data, right? It has around 4 years of data. So, over 4 years, there has been so many changes. Suppose I am only interested in one particular year and nothing else. Then I will be interested in filtering my data. Filtering in Tableau is super easy. Again, drag and drop only. So I have used order date. I will again drag order date, this time to filters. Moment I drag it, since it's a date, it presents those options to me. The interesting thing about date is there are so many options of filtering. Let's go with relative date first. You see this control panel in front of you. It's basically a way to help the user to refer the date with respect to something. In this case, we don't have the latest data, but if I did, I would say relative to today's data. Let's say I want to see months last 6 months. Apply. Now what I'm seeing from April till September, I have the data. Likewise, if I don't want this relative filter, I can simply get rid of it, bring order date back, and use this option, range. Range is very straightforward. You just tell from where till when, and it will do the rest of the job. So I'll just not change anything. I'll just go okay. Now I'll have to do a small change here. Right click on the order date and hit show filter, which will do nothing but give you a control panel kind of option and allow you to filter the data like this. Very simple. So having done this far, I mean, see, filters applies to everything. You could have done the same thing for here also. Let me show filter with another option. Edit filter, show it. This time I will do a little discrete. We'll go for years. It tells you which ones you need. I want all of them. So I'll go for use all. Click on OK. Repeat the same process. Show filter. So now I'm only interested in 2024 or 2023. My choice. Like this. Same applies for anything. Any dimension you want to drag and drop, it will simply allow you to filter, right? So this is another visualization I would like to show, and it's common. It is called pie chart. So you have your sales data and you have different regions that you cater to. So you want to see a distribution. The reason of a pie chart is to see distribution. So let's drag sales in rows and region like this. Since we are in automatic, I will only see a bar chart. But let's change things here. Let's click on automatic and you will see a lot of options actually, but we'll go for pie. If I click on pie, nothing really happens as such, but I have to customize it. You see this option called angle. Take cells and drag it to angle. Still no pie chart. Take region and drag it to color. Something that looks like a pie at least appears. I'll go for entire view and I get a pie chart. Let's make it a little interesting. Like this. I also want to show the sales. Another small thing I'll do. Instead of showing the sales number, I want to show the sales percentage because we are doing a part to whole comparison. So right click on sales. You will come across something called quick table calculation. And there is something called percentage of total. Essentially, these options are all there, but are slightly hidden. So I would want you to explore this tool as much as possible. But whenever you need something, you just right click somewhere or you drag something and options will appear in front of you. So let's click on percentage of total. And you see, I get 31.8, 21.6, 29, something like this. So in general, I'm able to get a visualization ready. So we have a line chart, a pie chart. We also created a bar chart, but it's coming from a different data set. And what else? If you click on this option here, show me, you see certain options, different visualizations are present. But I prefer not using show me that much. It's just a reference for you. It doesn't actually do anything. So since our data has a location level of information, we can try creating a map. So in our case, we have city. What I'm going to do is simply double click on this field. So when I do that, a map appears, but it's pointing to nowhere. It's saying 541 unknown. You will see this kind of issues in Tableau because of poor configuration. I will click on 541 unknown and hit this edit locations. Very simple. You just have to tell it that it's not about India. It's from our field, country, region, which is Canada and United States, which was in this data set. So state and province. Now these are fixed. Click OK. And here you get your map. Now, a map in general means nothing, quite frankly. Let's say there are 50 states in USA. So I will take out city and country region. No, sorry, not that. And now my ask is which state did more sales? Okay. So when I have this question in mind, I take sales and I simply drag it to size and see what happens. Tableau automatically creates a range of numbers for you. Let's say instead of sum of sales, I want to change it from measure to average sales. Then also I will see some changes in the data shapes. So you hover on it and you will see the average sales of that particular states. Likewise. So yeah, now we have 4 visualizations ready. Let us try to create a dashboard, right? So you will see an option here called New Dashboard. The way Tableau does dashboarding is that it keeps in mind that there are many devices and it has the layouts for different devices. Usually we would go for a generic desktop like this, and all the sheets that we created are currently present in our dashboard layer. One small thing I will do before bringing the visuals in the dashboard, I will apply this filter, the 2023 filter, to all my sheets. This is a very common ask because if I filter 2023, it should not only change this visual, it should change these visuals as well. So how to do that? Right click on the filter, apply to worksheets, selected worksheets. Notice only this is selected. Change to this one. Simply select these two. And you're ready. So now if I bring sheet 2 in our dashboard, I also get to see the filter. Let's try bringing our second visual. If you drag around this, you will see different positions, basically where you want to place the visual. I'll drag it here. I'll keep it here and let's test it. So I can see the pie chart is also changing. Let's bring our fourth visual. And test it again. So yeah, that works. This, what you see, I mean, obviously you have to do a lot of formatting, lot of font and shapes and styling to make it look even pretty. You can even give a title from dashboard show title and give it a name. Essentially everything here is editable. So you just double click on the text and you can change it to what you want to give. Likewise. So yeah, I think we have covered the basics of Tableau and slowly building visualizations and integrating them into a dashboard, right? So quick time check, uh, like if anybody from audience has any Q&A.
Hi, Debian. Thank you so much for that
Yeah.
insightful session. Okay.
Mhm.
We will take up few questions from Q&A, very basic questions which were getting repeated. So we thought of giving that answers at the end of our session. Before we proceed, many queries were coming related to the data sets and stuffs. I will come back to that. If you can
Mhm.
share the PPT of Uni Athena, I would like to mention few words about Uni Athena, what we do, what we offer and stuffs. Then we will definitely, I request all the attendees to stay back till the end of the session so that you will get a participation certificate of WIU. Uh, Here at Uni Athena, you all are very much aware of Uni Athena. We offer a gateway to the affordable and flexible learning. We at Uni Athena, we are dedicated to provide you accessible, flexible, and affordable learning opportunities throughout our wide range of free learning short courses and academic programs. Free learning